All right, well, the foreign minister of Oman has announced that a fourth round of talks with the United States about Iran's nuclear program had been postponed. Minister Badr bin Hamad Al-Busaidi made the announcement on the social media platform X just days before the talks were expected to begin in Rome. The post also mentioned that the meeting is now planned for Saturday, but a confirmation is awaited. Meanwhile, the United States said that it had never confirmed to be participating in the talks, but expects Iran talks in near future. Let's in fact listen in to what Tammy Bruce had to say on the postponement.
This is what I can say about Iran, is that the United States was never confirmed to be participating in a fourth round of talks with Iran, which people had believed were Saturday in Rome, despite what there had been some reports. The timing and the venue had yet to be confirmed. I think, again, I would say this is a fluid situation, and I'm obviously saying things to you that are somewhat indistinct, but we expect another round of talks that will take place in the near future.
All right, but tensions between the Iranian and U.S. governments have been simmering beneath the nearly weekly meetings. The administration of President Donald Trump has said its aim is to prevent Iran from developing a nuclear weapon, though Tehran has long denied armament as a goal. It frames its nuclear program as a civilian energy project. While Iran nuclear deal continues to be uncertain, there were also reports of the E3, the United Kingdom, France and Germany, holding talks with Iran on the nuclear deal. However, French foreign minister has said that the same stands cancelled as well. Listen in.
Il y avait une réunion technique d'envisager, préalable à la, je crois, troisième rencontre à haut niveau entre les États-Unis et l'Iran. Cette rencontre ne se tenant pas, la réunion technique n'avait plus de pertinence, en tout cas à cette échéance-là.
Well, a technical meeting was planned prior to, I believe, and the third high-level meeting between the United States and Iran. Since that meeting is not taking place, the technical meeting is no longer relevant, at least at that time. Earlier on Thursday, Iran accused the U.S. of contradictory behavior and provocative statements after Washington warned Tehran of consequences for backing Yemen's Houthis and imposed new oil-related sanctions on it in the midst of nuclear talks. Ross Feingold, a political risk analyst, joins us on the program to give us more insights into this. Ross, a pleasure having you here once again. Well, Iran, once again, fomenting trouble, not coming out with its real intentions of why it has a nuclear program. Donald Trump made it very, very vivid and very, very clear in the last few press briefings that no extremist country should be allowed to hold nuclear weapons. But Iran, of course, trying to obfuscate and confuse the West.
President Trump's position is very clear. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. That's actually the position of Israel, and frankly, it's the position of the Arab Gulf states as well. What really remains to be negotiated is whether or not Iran could have a civilian nuclear program. In fact, there's been a lot of news over the past 24 hours that maybe there's some room in the United States negotiating position, and that the position of the United States is not denying Iran the right to have a civilian nuclear program, but still denying Iran the ability to have a nuclear weapon program. So it's possible that the United States, whenever the two sides have the next round of indirect talks, that the United States will emphasize that we're not against Iran having a civilian nuclear program with appropriate safeguards, which includes international inspections. But perhaps the United States is offering something to Iran, which is that it could have a civilian nuclear energy program as long as it doesn't enrich uranium up to the levels that are needed for nuclear weapons.
Well, let's also look at, the inspiration behind why, Iran wants a nuclear weapon, Ross. Let's look at the history of how it got the nuclear weapon. Why countries like Pakistan and North Korea, they find themselves equally on a platform that wants to have this technology. And we all know, especially in India, with Pakistan and India actually on the verge of a conflict at this point in time, it's very, very evident that nuclear technology has traces of Pakistan as well. But Pakistan is not suffering from that admonishment from the world as much as Iran is. What do you make of that?
Frankly, the world has just gotten used to the fact over the past 25 plus years that Pakistan has a nuclear weapon. What the Western countries, including the United States and friendly countries like Germany, France, and the United Kingdom want to prevent is the further proliferation of nuclear weapons. So although they're not happy that Pakistan has nuclear weapons, it's too late. It can't be stopped. What they do want to stop is North Korea or Iran from having nuclear weapons. There is no circumstance under which the United States will accept Iran having nuclear weapons. And the other thing to keep in mind is, and in response to your question, these are countries that are not true democracies. Obviously, North Korea is not. Iran has some voting, but it's not truly a democracy. It's not a multi-party democracy. And in Pakistan, the military retains enormous influence over the government and over politics in general. So these are countries where the military establishment feels that to retain their power, they constantly have to stoke the embers of nationalism. They constantly have to say we're under threat, and they have to do that in order to retain some legitimacy, because frankly their hold on power is illegitimate. And then they say we need nuclear weapons to prevent the United States from attacking us. In the case of Iran, they say not just the United States, but also Israel as well. I think we need to give the Trump administration some credit. They're willing to have these indirect negotiations and to see what it leads to, and they haven't closed the door to reaching an agreement with Iran. So the fact that the Trump administration is willing to talk, I think we need to take that as a positive at the moment.
Ross, always a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for those insights.
Thank you.